Patriots team captain and defensive leader, not to mention leading tackler Jawan Bentley, torn pectoral muscle, out for the season. The Patriots offense on a record pace for the fewest yards ever thrown to the wide receiver position. Inefficiencies, injuries. Oh, and by the way, they may not have an offensive line Thursday night when they travel down to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jetropolitans in the mouth of hell. Oh my gosh, everything seemed wine and roses just days ago in Patriots Nation, but one overtime loss to Geno Smith, and now it feels like the house of cards is coming crumbling down. What happened, Andy Hart, we ask as we kick off today's latest and greatest episode of Six Rings and Football Things on a short turnaround week. We are just but 2 days removed as we record this and stream live on the Fitzy GFY and WEEI socials on a Tuesday morning. 2 days ago, people were talking, oh my gosh, this team's going to win more games than I thought. We might even make the playoffs. Holy smokes. Visions of greatness, delusions of grandeur, whatever you may happen to say, feel, think, or believe. And now, just a couple days later, the offense can't drive the ball down the field. They can't protect the quarterback. They can't keep the quarterback of the other team inside the pocket. Now you lose the captain of the defense, one of the team captains, and your leading tackler, inarguably an underrated player in Jawan Bentley. Barmore's not walking through that door anytime soon. You traded Judon to the Falcons in the offseason. Shit, Andy. They're in trouble Thursday night. And I feel like whatever the first win did to cover up any holes, gaps, cracks, or issues, now all of a sudden, like the blanket has been pulled away and the warts are out in view. I think I'm scared.
You used 4 words where you only needed 2. You said, they're in trouble Thursday night. You could have stopped after they're in trouble. And far be it from me. I am not a pat myself on the back kind of guy. I'm not the kind of guy that takes victory laps when he is right. You know that. But I believe I told you, you very rarely get healthier and deeper and more talented as an NFL season goes on. It's a battle of attrition. That cliche is for a reason. And the offensive line is the perfect example. They are losing bodies left and right. Guys are walking out. Chuks Okorafor doesn't want to play anymore. That's fine. We didn't want you to play anymore, really, either.
But I know he's not very good. He's certainly not even at left tackle or right tackle or wherever he used to play.
But he is a body and a large one.
Yeah, but I was just listening to the podcast of your afternoon show on Monday, where you very fine radio program. Top.
It might get a name someday.
Let's don't get greedy. So easy guy, baby steps. So I'm listening to you guys, and I hadn't even really come to understand exactly how banged up the offensive line was. So Arcand is reading off the names of all the offensive linemen, and because it's a short week and the Pats turn around on Thursday night. Again, maybe this is why I suggested Thursday night games be turned into flag football, because these guys can't even they may not even be able to suit up. They're so banged up. David Andrews wouldn't have practiced. They don't have to practice on Mondays on Thursday Night Football, but you would have had a DNP for David Andrews, a DNP for Vidarian Lowe. Chuks Okorafor went on a walkabout. Layden Robinson is already playing with a shoulder or a hip. City So, once again, the ankle. His replacement wasn't so great in Michael Jordan. Who knows what Nick. You may have basically a rookie at left tackle in Caden Wallace. You may have maybe your third left guard of the season. Who knows who's going to play center? It might have to be, maybe it's Andrews, maybe it's Leverett. Dude, I mean, you're porked, screwed, blue, tattooed. What the hell?
Yeah, and there's no 2 ways about it. And obviously, we've talked about this, like, how did we get here kind of thing? Well, we got here the way we talked about we'd get here. We knew the offensive line wasn't very good. We knew the receivers weren't very good. And we knew the quarterback was a journeyman backup. Other than that, you were fine. So you want the answers to everything? That's the answers. And, you know, it's funny because they're better than I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm. More competitive for sure.
You know, I argued against you saying they kind of fell apart in the second half Sunday. Like, I didn't think they fell apart. They failed to make the plays they needed. I said it yesterday. They had some gotta have it sequences where they didn't get it. They had to have it and they didn't get it. And the Seahawks did, and you lose. But
there's more talent on the other side, like you said.
But it hasn't been, I wouldn't get out any like dumpster fire memes or anything like that, or like a car with the wheels just falling off or anything of that nature. they've just been not quite good enough in coaching. And I put that everywhere: coaching, offense, defense, special teams. They've all had minor flubs here or there, failures to execute situational football, but it gets harder. Now, in some ways, it doesn't get harder, because if you're really looking ahead and kind of looking at the road, well, the 49ers without Debo and McCaffrey is better than what you thought coming into the season. Now, the problem is they still have good players around those guys, and they're still a far more talented team than you are, and you're losing people here along the way. But it's a weird spot in that I think they've been competitive. I think they've been entertaining, which is something that's starting to piss me off. All these people that claim to be Patriots fans saying they're not entertaining. I don't know what the heck you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you. No, you're right. And by the way, I got some feedback on the podcast version of our Six Rings postgame show from Sunday. One fan, buddy Jay, who lives in Tampa, texted me and said, "I was so glad you guys pointed out that third down late blitz that they sent against Seattle in the fourth quarter was a bad call, because they hadn't been getting to Geno Smith all day, and they got desperate. And when they sold out, they left themselves exposed." I think a lot of fans have come around to understand that this team has, like, you can't get mad at a three-legged dog for being a three-legged dog if it walks a certain way or it holds you up or whatever. Like, as long as that dog is obedient, well-behaved, and when needed has a lot of fight in it, how in the world can you ever be mad at it for it?
Spoiled.
Like, yes,
spoiled. People are entitled. Like,
it's entitled
and
town.
I'm really talking about two people that have made their way onto my radar. Wiggy on our morning show yesterday was bitching about, if this had been two other teams, I would have changed the channel. Okay, but it's your team. It's not two other teams. It's your team. Like, we've all attended events for our children that are like, if this concert wasn't my kid, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, no shit.
It's your kid.
Like crappy music. Oh, they play the violin. It's not Yo-Yo Ma. It's Yo-Yo Kid. And you have to listen, and you have to sit your ass in the seat. This is your Patriots team, and they're being competitive. They're being entertaining. And then Dan Shaughnessy writes a whole column this morning like, oh, they can't throw the ball down the field. They're not fun. They're not running trick plays. Okay, so go watch somebody else. I get this is
they're trying to figure out what to do with what they got, literally. Like,
and they should be 2-0.
Yeah, they still should have won that. They should have won that game.
Yeah, and I turned that yesterday on its ear because I started to hear something very stupid and disappointing: moral victory. Victory?
No, there is a banishment. You're not allowed to play football in the evening on Fridays until the EEE virus filters out of the state, and you're not allowed to celebrate moral victories anymore in Patriots Nation. I don't want to hear that shit at all. Good
no
question.
More swearing. You've used up your two. We're done.
Okay, that's true. We may end up, the bots may end up sending us to the.
It's like that thing that was thrown on the field in Buffalo. You can only say it like twice per hour or something before you get in trouble.
I missed the bill, though. Jeff Stenberg's got a good question, Andy. With this team having no expectations and not being great, would you have gone for it 4th and 1 in overtime? Now, Mayo said Monday, I'm not sure if it was his presser or if it was on EEI, but he said, I'm still okay with the decision I made. I'll have to live with the concept. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I'm okay with it still. That's the decision I made as a head coach. I have to learn to live with it. And I'm fine with it, which I get. I'm glad that he owned it. But at that point, I mean, if you go for it and you miss, the game is over. That's a high risk. That's a high stakes, high risk proposition. I understand punting it away at that particular point because they knew you were selling out for the run no matter what. You couldn't give Jacoby Brissett but maybe 1.2 seconds to throw tops. And the defense was getting tired, quite honestly, because Geno Smith was on a heater, and it was very frustrating. So I understand why. Would you have gone for it, Andy?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The right thing there is to punt, in part because on 3rd and 1, not only did you not get it on 3rd and 1, you couldn't even line up properly. You got a penalty on 3rd and 1. Mm-hmm. So you kind of blew your proverbial you-know-what there. And it was like, okay, let's punt this away. Let's do the conservative right thing. And, oh, by the way, your very good punter put the Seahawks on their own 16-yard line against your supposedly very good defense. And then your very good defense couldn't do anything about it. I don't want to hear about the pass interference call. I don't want to hear about anything else. Your very good defense, which people told me was good enough to win games on its own. Right? Did I not hear that? Good enough to win games on its own. Try again.
Hold on. What part of the offseason, and we'll get into all those ridiculous metrics with just like Christian Gonzalez has already locked down the league. Yes, just like his mother wore on her shirt, Christian Gonzalez is good. Enough with putting him in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't belong in Canton or even the Patriots Hall of Fame just yet. People, please, with all
How do you
this.
know he doesn't live in Canton, Mass?
He
Have an
could.
apartment there.
It's usually Franklin, Attleboro,
Yeah, maybe he
Foxborough.
branched out a little because he isn't that where the Top Golf is? Maybe he wanted to live near the Top Golf.
It is.
See?
I heard that's a fun take, but also you may have to get a HELOC to be able to enjoy a party.
Well, no,
of
there's
four.
actually, if you go like Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. or something, like there's these really cheap off hour times you can go.
Yeah,
because
that's yeah, I was gonna say that's when I want it. That's when I want to go have pork sliders and a couple of beers Tuesday at 9. Actually, it sounds pretty good right now. Here was Gerard Mayo discussing one of the problems, one of the defensive issues that plagued the Patriots on Sunday, not being able to corral and contain Geno Smith, who had himself a game with his legs and his arm against the Pats at Foxborough.
It doesn't matter who we play. We need to do a better job keeping the quarterback in the pocket. And when we were letting the quarterback outside the pocket and, this past game, he made plays with his legs. Now, A-Rod, he's one of those guys. He may not be as fast as he used to be, but he's still mobile back there in the pocket and still can make all the throws. So had to get some type of pressure in his face somehow and also keep him in the pocket.
Okay, so corralling and containing the quarterback is going to be a priority Thursday night because even though he's 40 and he's playing on a reconstructed Achilles, Aaron Rodgers can be nimble and knows how to maneuver and manipulate the pocket and on occasion scoot for a first down. He's certainly not going to move like...
I'm not worried because when Christian Gonzalez shuts down Garrett Wilson to the tune of 0 catches for 0 yards, where's Rodgers going to go?
Oh, boy, here he's back. All right, 12 minutes in, the you people vibes are already rolling.
But, I didn't say it.
Okay, when people said the defense was good enough to win on its own, I think that was back when Juwan Bentley was presumed to be healthy enough to play. But again, injuries happen. It is a contact sport, a very physical contact sport. That's how it works. Barmore was, unfortunately, was at the time not plagued by blood clots and was expected to be a pivotal, if not massive part of this defense as well. So now you still haven't replaced Barmore. You have to now replace Juwan Bentley. Is that going to be Jelani Tavai's job? And who fills in for Tavai? And where are you, Marty Mapu? And by the way, Taki, let's hurry and get back on the defense.
Yeah, well, you honestly are now, after Thursday night, one more week away from guys becoming options after 4 weeks. Now, I don't know where they are physically, but technically, in terms of the list they're on, guys start to become options to return and bolster your roster. But the flip side of that is you're going to continue to lose guys. Like, I hate to be this guy, but don't you think, we've seen who the core of the offense is. It's Ramondre Stevenson and Hunter Henry right now. Probably a good chance one of those guys gets banged up at some point. Like, I don't want to wish it on anybody, but I've seen a lot of NFL games, and if a running back carries the ball 40 times in his first 2 games, he's generally due to tweak a hammy, pull a calf, have a shoulder, something.
Oh, so, Ramondre, like Brissett is hanging on by a thread. He's probably not even leading on how badly he hurts right now.
Yeah, but people are cheering that on. I don't care for you people.
No, we're not cheering it on.
I've become a Brissett defender. If you're going to blame...
Well, at least he's got one because the line can't do it.
Well, that's right. I'm going to defend my guy better than the 5 guys in front of him because...
Can they even put 5 guys out there this week? Jeez.
If you want to rank the problems in the passing game,
we did that Sunday, didn't we? We did the reasons why we thought they lost. Yeah. Go ahead. Let's reverse power rank the problems with the passing game. Go.
Reverse power rank. I'm confused. Now is that
3-2 we're power ranking a problem. So
I'll do the 4 issues in the passing game. Number 4, Jacoby Brissett. Number 3, Alex Van Pelt.
Play caller. Okay.
Number 2, the 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys, however many guys it is lining up in front of.
5 guys, 6 guys, 7.
Whatever it may be. Those guys. Number 1, Elliott Wolf. You never went and got a left tackle, and it's weird. You don't have a left tackle. Damnedest thing. It's like almost predictable. If you don't get a left tackle, you won't have a left tackle, and you don't have a funniest.
Left tackle. Isn't that funny how that works? When you don't, you try to weaponize the offense. I don't care how many assets you try to acquire via free agency or most notably the draft. If you can't give your quarterback, as our friend Delusional Patriots fan watching live on YouTube right now as we record the latest 6 Rings podcast, Brissett looks like he's in real pain and is running on grit and willpower.
He's the reason I went for a run this morning. I was like, if he's going to run for his life, I should run for mine early in the morning. He inspired me.
Vinny Sav III, it's as I highlighted earlier, it's not the coaches or players' fault. They're 60 million plus under the cap. This team lacks top-notch talent. See, there is a sect. It's zero lies detected. That's Foxborough facts only. There is a sect of Pats Nation that believes, Andy, that this is like the cleverest tank in history. Like, oh, we're gonna make it look like we're like trying really hard. We're gonna be super competitive, but in the end, we know we're not very good. So we're just gonna give them something worth attending and talking about for a while. Hey, the stadium was juiced up Sunday. I told you when I called into the pregame show.
Day.
But it was a glorious day. They were coming off a win. There was more excitement in the air than anticipated. Like, it was really fun. And then sadly, as the second half played out and they did only allow 3 points to the Seahawks, the air started slightly just getting let out of the balloon. Like, oh no, they can't protect Brissett. Oh no, we can't complete a forward pass. Oh no, Geno Smith looks like Patrick Mahomes out there. Like, this is the most jarring thing to me. So here's how bad the Patriots passing game is. I'm sure you probably saw.
How bad is it?
Why it's so bad, Andy, it's record setting. On a Sunday where they allowed, with this lockdown, super tight, unbelievable pass defense, not one, but two 100-yard receivers in DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba. The New England Patriots on the season, through 2 games, have 83 yards total to the wide receiver position. Over the last 10 years, that is the worst in the NFL by 24 yards. Like, they are on pace right now to break records with how little the wide receivers are getting involved. 83 yards combined. No targets for Pop Douglas. And I believe you spoke to Jacoby Brissett on Monday and asked him this very question. What did he say?
He basically said, well, from a Pop Douglas perspective, because I'm sure you saw Pop Douglas getting a little cranky, kind of venting about not being targeted and being able to show his skills. And I was last year, and might be the only person who wants the Bill O'Brien offense back right now. So the angle for that for Brissett was, you want guys to want the ball. You'd be worried if he didn't want the ball. He's a competitor, blah, blah, blah. He's taking it on himself to do some things better, but this is a systematic problem. This is absolutely the entire offense, scheming, protecting. And I will say, you're always the negative one on this podcast, as people have come to accept and understand. So you're obviously fixating on the worst wide receiver production in 10 years. I look at the glass as being a little bit fuller than that, because I look and I say, could be worse. You could be Carolina and benching your number 1 overall pick quarterback. The first time in history, this didn't make sense to me, and I haven't looked it up, but I read it in The Athletic, so I'm just going with it. First time in history that the number 1 overall pick has been benched for performance reasons, not injury. Doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like it had to have happened before. But Bryce Young benched.
This early in his career, you mean?
Maybe. I don't know. It didn't have any qualifiers, but it said it, so I'll go with it. And in New York, the Giants, my buddy Brian Daboll, who's being crushed by losing, there had been 1,132 NFL games where a team led by had a 3-touchdown advantage on the scoreboard, 3 touchdowns to 0 for the opponent. No one had ever lost a game like that. And then Brian Daboll said, hold my beer. And they lose to the
21-18 to the Commanders. The Commanders kick 7 field goals.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5.
There's LeBron when you need him. Not
7 field goals. Yeah, that's gotta hurt.
We're not in the worst situation. There are more. Those are dumpster fires, it feels like, in Carolina and in New York. Right here, not a dumpster fire, not great. And you're right, sneaky tank, or as I said a year ago, they're not tanking, they just suck. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe that the talent, where we said they were deficient in talent, they are deficient in talent. It is what it is.
Yeah. That's why you can't really get that you can't don't ever take it out on the team, right? Don't ever take it out on the team. Any frustration you have, you can get mad at Mayo, you can get mad at Van Pelt, although Van Pelt is doing his best as a first-year offensive coordinator, basically, though he's been experienced and carried the title before, but he's never really been the play caller to the degree he is this year. Right. He's learning on the fly and figuring out what to do.
At least he had more plays on the sheet this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if it mattered.
Forgetting some of your plays and trying to remember some of the players to get involved. It's not a great assessment, not a great admission, Alex. You got a first-year head coach, basically first-time play caller. You got a quarterback who's probably playing on one good leg because he's been hit so many times already this season, under pressure almost all the time. This is like a league-wide issue too. Passing touchdowns are way down.
Oh my
Scoring
God.
is down. Defense is on the rise. Ground and pound seems the term du jour once again in the NFL. Seems a bit of a messy throwback start to the season as well. But the Patriots, again, yeah, like all it takes is a couple injuries, one on the defense, a couple on the offensive line, and the depth is significantly exposed. And that gives you cause for concern, not just on a short turnaround of a week, but on the long haul for this team.
Can I ask a question that's self-centered? They always are, Andy.
Yeah. Expect nothing less.
If they go 1-16, should I be disappointed like that I was that close to being right that they just pulled the wool over Joe Burrow and company?
Not going one. I know, because look at the Cincinnati Bengals you saw in week 2. They're always much better week 2, although they do have a lot of 0-2 starts as well. And man, if there's that was pass interference, unfortunately, late in the game. Yeah. Why that team continues to run into late penalty issues in Kansas City and blow these games, setting up Harrison Butker over and over again for the game-winning kicks, I have no idea. Yeah, yeah. It's a messy start to the league overall.
But it always is. We do this every year. We talk about injuries. We talk about sloppy play. We talk about bad tackling. Remember last year, Brady was like, "Oh, football's not good anymore," or whatever. I see bad football, and now everybody on the football field's like, "I see a bad color commentator." So go screw yourself, Brady. We're equal now. Bad sees bad.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. Brady is ultra vanilla, I would say, right?
Yeah, I didn't see much of his game, but I saw some clips, including the CeeDee Lamb catch and run big play, where he made one little noise and then nothing else. And then Burkhardt was like, "Yeah, Tom, this is where you talk and explain why this play happened."
Yeah, you get $2 million a week to help people understand exactly what happened there with your LFG player of the game. Yeah, please. Tom's Happy Land watching live on YouTube. Can this team go 1-16?
Technically,
Andy thinks it's mathematically, it is on the table right now. I don't believe they will.
I will be surprised if they go 1 and the way they have competed. There will be other teams potentially later in the year that give up, pack it in, have worse injuries. Now, maybe they will too. I mean, as much as I'm praising Gerard Mayo for his team's compete level, it's not great that your second-year wide receiver in the second week of the season is popping off and sulking because he didn't get the goddamn ball. Like, that's a problem for the fabric of this team. You better nip that in the bud pretty quickly, because if you start having more of those I guys instead of we guys, and that comes off as an I issue for Pop Douglas, who quite honestly, I didn't care for. It pisses me off. I don't know who the F he thinks he is. I don't know what he thinks he's established in this league, that he deserves the football or has earned. Everybody on the planet wants him to get the ball more because we think he's good. Let everybody speak for you. Don't open your mouth and make yourself look like a jackass, like a Shadur Sanders, like a self-centered dink. And I thought that's what he kind of did over the last couple days.
Yeah, but at this, that's true. It's probably not time to be doing that, but it is super curious. Like you have to admit, it's very curious when you have a dearth of playmakers on offense, and you know the guy usually can get open pretty quick.
Well, to have zero targets, he's not a proven commodity. He had a
nice rookie season. Yes.
Like, let's not pretend he's effing Julian Edelman or Wes Welker with like 100-yard seasons to his resume. The guy could barely stay healthy. He's a nice player. He needs to prove he's more than that. And again, I have to think he's on social media, correct? He's a modern football player. So
everyone checks social media.
Okay.
Of course.
So he knows that every Patriots fan and media member is like, where's Pop Douglas? Maybe get Pop Douglas involved. Pop Douglas deserves the ball more. Pop. So you don't have to say it. It's out there. It's being said. It's going to be asked about by reporters. You don't have to expose yourself as a self-centered member of this team, which I thought he did. I really didn't care for that. I don't know if you noticed. I didn't really care for that.
It seems like you weren't a fan of that as well. I understand. And I don't disagree to a certain amount, but at least he's passionate. I don't think that's as much even about the me. I think he's just being passionate about wanting to see the offense get in gear overall. Again, 83 yards to the entire wide receiver core combined. I do not believe that this is an indictment of the lack of talent at the receiver position. This is, like you said, Systemic. It is a problem with the play caller. It's a problem with the quarterback. And most importantly, it is a problem with the offensive line as well. People are clamoring for the Patriots to just say the hell with it. Let's not worry about trying to keep this game close. Let's just sling it to the young wide receivers. You'll probably see that later in the season whenever Drake May finally makes his way in there. And they may even have to hasten that timeline depending on the health of Jacoby Brissett, because this guy is not going to make it through 17 games if the offensive line continues to play like that. Let's get out on this. Andy, has the timeline for when we may see Drake May been sped up because of the line issues and the dings and nicks that Jacoby Brissett has taken thus far?
The unknown of, I thought we might see May on Sunday, this past Sunday, just because I wasn't sure a couple times if Jacoby was able to go back in and getting up. He seems to be a tough SOB. On an injury report that had everybody on the offensive line, there was no Jacoby Brissett. Mm-hmm. And he spoke with us yesterday on the WEEI afternoon show, and seems like he's ready to go Thursday night. So unless he's flat out knocked out of the game, I still think that Week 5 Dolphins game is becoming the perfect, especially with Skylar Thompson, a backup, a backup, so to speak. But your backup is a more hopeful, developmental, optimistic backup. So I still look at that home game against the Dolphins as the perfect landing spot, assuming Jacoby Brissett can stay on the field. And that's not a guarantee. I think that's 50-50 at this point, any given play.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that assessment at all. All right. Well, listen, we will be back in just 1 day's time with our Pats at Jets preview, because it is a shortened week. And then, of course, Thursday night after Pats Jets, you can listen to the Six Rings postgame show live on WEEI. We're even going to try to sneak in one of those little fun, quick, unfiltered halftime shows live here across all the WEEI and Fitzy GFY socials on Thursday night as well. Let's leave them with a little something to put a smile on their face. Last night, Bill Belichick was on the Manning Cast, as he will always appear every Monday night that the Manning Cast appears on ESPN2 during Monday Night Football. Good game last night as well. Darius Slay owned up to not doing a good job covering Drake London late in that game. And also Saquon, you get paid money, hold the damn ball.
That's a bad drop.
That's a bad drop
right there. My offensive player of the year candidate, that was offensive.
That was truly offensive. But anyway, Belichick was on, and he reminded us that salty Belichick is more often than not the most enjoyable Belichick.
Super Bowl 52, y'all win against the Eagles. Did not go well for you that game. I know. I didn't want to ask you. Peyton made me do this, but I just have one quick question. Do you happen to have like a dartboard in your house, the picture of Foles and I on it that you just throw darts at all the time?
Yeah, I got 3 dartboards, 2 of you and 1 of Foles. Yeah, I got 3.
There it is.
I kind of love that. That was great. And also then he was taking victory laps on Arthur Blank for celebrating too early during Super Bowl 51, since he was visible last night with the Falcons being in Philadelphia.
What did he have to say about the Patriots game this week?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, no, he doesn't talk about the Patriots.
No, he doesn't. We don't talk about Bruno, and he doesn't talk about the Patriots. Yeah, that was interesting. Although Matt Patricia did confirm Sunday that basically Belichick spends his entire week now. It's just Nantucket to Mount Laurel, New Jersey. That's where he does everything.
Oh, yeah, he's got an office there. I've been told he's got an office, a treadmiel, a shower. Like he's a full-time employee, basically.
He's like a new Sable. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Speaking of which,
yes,
NFL Films was at Gillette Stadium filming a little portion of the afternoon show on WEEI. So I've never seen this before, but apparently the Thursday Night Football Open includes oftentimes local radio clips or something. So
how about that?
Keep an eye out for Arcand and Hart for potentially being in the Amazon Prime pregame show or
Amazon
whatever
Prime
lead in. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for your boy. Your boy might be on your TV.
How about that? Look at you, Mr. Big Time. Wow. I'll get to say I remember when. All right, there we go, guys. There is your latest Six Rings and Football Things podcast. Done with the Seahawks game. On to the Jets. Woe be the line. I'm so sorry to lose you, Bentley. And geez Louise, what are the Pats going to do to try to maybe the wrong defense to have to try to get your passing game going again? Although I will say this, just a little teaser. The Jets defensive line, not quite what it used to be. Now, granted, the Patriots needed an offensive line to actually stop them.
I was going to say, they might not be what they used to be, The Patriots' offensive line doesn't exist. It is a mirage.
Oh, here we go. Big. All right. Let's hope they can back this up. Jason Snodgrass watching live on YouTube. Ramondre and Gibson are going to run for over 200 yards on Thursday. The Jets D is soft, pun intended. All right. From your comment to the football god's ears. Good job, Hart. He's part of the WEI Afternoon Show. Your old pal Fitzy can usually be found at a brewery or a flag football field near you. We'll be back tomorrow with our Behind the Enemy Lines and preview prediction show for Thursday night's Pats at Jets AFC East showdown. Good day. God bless. Thank you guys for showing up. Pete the Animal Austin wants to remind everyone you got to run.